Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? But here's the real question. Is excellence really just a matter of doing something over and over again? What about talent? Is talent underrated, discipline overrated, or the other way around? Hi everyone, in this video we'll be answering these questions, digging deep into this age-old debate, discipline versus talent. To explore it, we'll be looking at some of history's greatest minds: Mozart, Beethoven, Napoleon, Patton, Tesla, and Leonardo da Vinci. How did these geniuses balance their natural gifts with discipline? Will they help us come to a verdict? Let's find out. Before we start with our first example, write down your thoughts on this debate. Is discipline or talent more important than the other, or are they perhaps equal? Compare your notes after watching this video, see if it changes your mind or not. We'll start with one of the greatest talents ever, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Mozart seemed destined for greatness from the start. He composed music at the age of 5, performed for royalty, wrote his first opera then at the age of 11, and was the pride of Salzburg. He was the O.J. Wunderkind, child prodigy, pure talent. What else? But what people often overlook or don't know is that Mozart was a product of relentless discipline. His father, Leopold, was a strict teacher, and Wolfgang practiced for hours on end, day after day. Behind the child genius, there was a structure, a routine. It wasn't just young Mozart's natural ability. It was the hours spent at the piano, practicing scales and perfecting compositions that gave birth to his brilliance. Mozart once confessed, "It is a mistake to think that the practice of my art has become easy to me. I assure you, dear friend, nobody has devoted so much time and thought to composition as I." Talent alone may have set Mozart on the path, but discipline turned that path into an extraordinary musical journey. Our second example is also from the field of music, a man considered the embodiment of musical genius, Ludwig van Beethoven. Unlike Mozart, Beethoven was not a child prodigy. He did not show exceptional talent as a child. He was talented, yes, but an intense work ethic and sheer determination defined his rise to greatness. Beethoven's life was marked by financial, familial, and most of all, physical struggles. By the age of 30, he began to lose his hearing. But did he give up? No. He composed some of his most profound works after going completely deaf. His discipline overcame his limitations. Beethoven once said, "I will seize fate by the throat. It shall never wholly overcome me." His refusal to be defeated by his circumstances demonstrates that his genius wasn't just in his ability to hear music, it was in his refusal to let anything, not even deafness, silence him. Beethoven's example brings us to perhaps a new definition of talent. His drive, curiosity, and relentlessness. Isn't that talent too? Talent is often seen as a natural ability, something innate that doesn't require training, something you're born with. It's frequently contrasted with skill that is developed and refined through consistent practice and hard work. But maybe there is a fine line between the two? We'll take this discussion further with Beethoven's contemporary Napoleon. Napoleon's strategic mind and commanding presence on the battlefield made him one of the greatest military leaders ever. But was he simply a born genius? Napoleon himself would likely disagree. He was known for his rigorous study of military history, for sleeping only a few hours a night, and for his detailed preparation before every battle. His relentless discipline transformed him from a low-ranking officer into the Emperor of France. Napoleon famously said, "Victory belongs to the most persevering." For Napoleon, talent was important, but the sheer amount of preparation, the study, the planning, the practice, won battles and created an empire. Again, as with Beethoven, was talent the relentless discipline he was so famous for, or did this discipline trigger the talent inside him? Now, fast forward to the 20th century and to General George S. Patton. Patton was one of World War II's most successful American generals, known for his bold tactics and fearless leadership. But behind that boldness was an unwavering commitment to discipline. Patton believed in training, constant, rigorous training. He often said, "You fight as you train." He knew that talent would only get his men so far, and discipline and preparation were what would truly lead to victory. Another quote of his that illustrates his approach: "Accept the challenges so that you can feel the exhilaration of victory." Patton studied history obsessively. He didn't just rely on his instincts. He honed them through relentless practice and learning. His success was built on discipline layered on top of his natural leadership abilities. In this regard, is Patton so different than Napoleon? Let's leave military strategy now and move on to science, where we have the enigmatic Nikola Tesla, often portrayed as the quintessential mad genius. Tesla had a mind that seemed to operate on a different frequency. He visualized all the inventions in his head before ever building a model. Talent? Undoubtedly. However, Tesla's real power lies in his work ethic. He worked long hours, often through the night, driven by an unquenchable thirst for discovery. His talent would have been nothing without his obsessive dedication to his work. In his own words, "I am credited with being one of the hardest workers, and perhaps I am, if thought is the equivalent of labor, for I have devoted to it almost all of my waking hours. But if work is interpreted to be a definite performance in a specified time according to a rigid rule, then I may be the worst of idlers." In Tesla's case, as with our previous examples, discipline was the fuel that powered his visionary ideas. Finally, we reach one of history's most brilliant minds, Leonardo da Vinci. The ultimate Renaissance man, Da Vinci was an artist, science, inventor, and more. His talent was immense, but what truly set him apart was his insatiable curiosity and disciplined study of the world. Leonardo filled notebook after notebook with sketches, ideas, and anatomy, engineering, and physical studies. He observed, dissected, and explored, all with a disciplined routine. His talent gave him the spark, but his relentless pursuit of knowledge fanned that spark into a flame that burned across centuries. Leonardo once said, "I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do." His discipline was what truly made him a master of so many fields. So, what do all these stories tell us? Talent is a gift, yes, but discipline is the key that unlocks its true potential. Mozart may have been born with music in his soul, but without practice, that music would have remained unheard. Napoleon might have had a strategic mind, but his success would have remained limited without study and preparation. We could poetically say that talent sets the stage, but discipline writes the story. And that's good news for all of us, because while we can't all be Mozarts or Teslas, we can choose to be disciplined. We can choose to work, practice, persist, and trigger the natural talent we were born with. I am sure we all have that. Now, let's get back to your notes and see what you wrote at the beginning of this video. Has this discussion challenged your thoughts, or have you stayed with your original ones? So let me know in the comments, do you think talent matters more, or is it all about discipline? Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and see you next time.